One question for you, Mr. President, one question for the Prime Minister. Speaking of Europe, last month you said that you would not withdraw US troops from Europe, yet 2 weeks later the Pentagon announced, decided to withdraw significant number of troops from Romania. So have you changed your mind, or the Pentagon ignored your assurance?
No, they don't ignore anything that I say. What they do is we make changes. We move. It's the same number, total number, but we move people around. I happen to like the Romanian people. I think they're great people. And Pete, you may want to suggest something right there, please.
Absolutely. No, nothing was uncoordinated with the White House. It's all part of the view that we have of Europe, and there will remain troops in Romania, but there's some change in how we rotate and how many we rotate.
And the relationship with Romania is very good, right?
It's very good, and we've coordinated all this with Secretary General Ruta, with throughout EUCOM, throughout our allies. Everyone was notified in advance.
The relationship with Romania is very good. The relationship with Europe is very good. I disagree with what Europe is doing having to do with immigration, but I agree with them on many other subjects. We just signed the biggest trade deal ever made with Europe, $950 billion. We were able to do it because of tariffs. It was a deal that was good, very good, but we had a very unfair deal. We were treated very badly before I came into office, but we just signed. It's the single biggest trade deal ever signed. So we have a very good relationship with Europe. Yeah.
What is the main dispute with the Russians which prevent the Budapest summit with Putin from taking place?
The basic dispute is they just don't want to stop yet. And I think they will. I think it's taken a big toll on Russia, a big toll on both countries, obviously, but it's taken a big toll. They're losing 7,000 soldiers a week. That's a big toll. And between the two of them, divided, you know, with Russia losing more soldiers, actually. But they're both losing a lot of people. And that's the primary thing that, with me, it's not economic, it's not money. In fact, we don't spend any money. We send it to NATO. They pay us for our missiles and for our military and everything else. We don't. It's not a question of money. It was with Biden. He spent $350 billion. He got nothing for it. The war would have never happened. If I were president, the war would have never happened. I think you would agree with that. This war would never have happened if I were president. It's stupid that it happened. But it did happen. I inherited the war, and I think we're going to get it ended. Not too distant future.
Mr. President,
yes, please.
So no question that if that time the name of the United States president would have been Donald Trump, there would be no war between Ukraine and Russia. That's clear. But what we are speaking about here is more than that, because without the pressure coming from the United States government, I'm speaking 2022, the Europeans would not take that hard line what they have today on the war. Remember that big countries of Europe rejected to be involved more than just sending some, humanitarian issues. So the pressure coming from the United States to be more pro-war in Europe. So that's the fact of the history anyway. So we have to restore something which was ruined and created from here, and that's the reason why I understand absolutely the devotion of the president now to do everything to stop the war, because that would be not that deep without the previous government pressure from here. So the reason why I'm here to be as much as helpful I can to contribute to the peace efforts of the president, because that was an enormous mistake what we have done, the Western world several years ago, and we have to stop it, and it's common responsibility.
Biden actually pushed for that war to happen. Okay, if you can believe it. Nobody can believe it, but it's one of those things. And now look what happened. Look what's happened to Ukraine. It's a much smaller country. A lot of people are dead. You take a look at it's a whole different world over there, and Russia has not been helped very much by that war either. They lost a tremendous number of soldiers and people. And, look, that war should have been a one-week war. I don't know why it's taken. This is 4 years. Should have been 1 week. Should have been over with, but it would have never started. Should have never started. And I would have solved the problem without giving up anything. Ukraine would have remained as is. So there were tremendous mistakes long before I got there. I inherited that mess, and we're getting it solved, along with the 8 wars that we've already ended.
Mr. Orban.
Mr. President,
What is America's
will
interest
that-
cultivating better relations with the EU leader or Orbán Viktor?
I think I can do both. I mean, there's no reason why I can't. I get along well with the European nations.
We are still a member of the European Union, so it's easy.
Yeah, and by the way, he's a member in good standing, I guess, although they penalize him every once in a while. But he's a member in good standing with the European Union, so he's a member. He's a part of it. But I get along great with him, and I get along very well with them. I agree with him on immigration much more than I agree with them, but I agree with, a lot of the things in Europe he also agrees with. But he had a difference, I would say, primarily on immigration more than anything else. And I happen to think he was right because their whole fabric has changed. I mean, you go to some of the countries, they're unrecognizable now because of what they've done. And Hungary is very recognizable. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. President.
yes, Mr. President, will there be a peaceful meeting in Budapest still this year? What do you think?
You mean a meeting with President Putin?
Yes.
You mean in Hungary? Well, I'd like to keep it in Hungary, in Budapest. That meeting, it turned out I didn't want to do that meeting because I didn't think anything was going to be happening of significance. But if we have it, I'd like to do it in Budapest. Yeah, it'd be good.
Mr. President, you said many times to support Viktor Orban. Why is it important to win the next election, for example, for the United States, Hungary, and also Europe? Why is it important?
Well, I don't know his opponent. I don't know if he has an opponent yet. At some point he will, I guess. We always have opponents,
always.
right? Not much of an opponent. But I'll be supportive of him. He's done a fantastic job. We've had a great relationship. The United States, look, we had a country that had no leader. It had an auto pen, illegal auto pen, totally illegal. And that's coming out stronger and stronger. But we had no leader in the United States. I mean, Hungary, as an example, had no relationship with the United States, even though we do, billions of dollars in trade with Hungary. Yeah. Hungary's a big country economically. We do, billions of dollars in trade with Hungary. Why would they give that up? And they gave up so much else. Look, they gave up everything. This country was poorly run. I think if I didn't win the election, we might not have a country, if you want to know the truth, not a recognizable country. But our relationship was immediately good as soon as I won the election because Viktor's one of the people that's highly respected, and we had a great relationship with Hungary. We do again. That was an easy one. Yeah.